Why would shingle manufacturer test product that makes them look bad, essentially?
You know, we're getting close to the peak of asphalt to where it's going to start to come down.
Talk to me about the rejuvenation industry and the demand.
And his dad goes, I'm in, this is amazing, the entire roof is sealed down, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. We haven't advertised one time for rejuvenation in our market.
Professionally, and like what we've presented into the home, we're 10 years behind HVAC.
Why do you think asphalt manufacturers are getting into metals?
I do think metal is superior, but I do think it depends on what hits it.
Would you agree that weight of the shingle matters?
I don't.
You don't?
Yeah, we could argue with this. I don't.
Gentlemen, between all your businesses, how many business hats do you both wear? What are your roles and how many businesses?
Yeah, so you can start, JB.
Yeah, so currently, MHI, I'm the COO, and then I'm over top of the Florida region as well for Vertex now.
So 2 businesses?
Yeah, and
What about UglyRoof?
Yeah,
so
I
3
still work in
businesses.
UglyRoof, and we also have System Thrive too, which is a little business that we have as consulting. It actually owns all of our trademarks and everything. But
All right, so 4 businesses for you. How many businesses and how many business hats you have?
Yeah, so I have a no longer with MHI. We sold our company recently to a company called Vertex. But I work now with Vertex doing acquisitions and helping to find companies to add to our platform. We have UglyRoof, and then I own a piece of a tequila company down in Chiapas, Mexico. So we have that going on too.
How did
so
you
that's
get
fun.
in that?
So my buddy, he imported and exported tequila for a company for a lot of years, and he made all the contacts and decided to start it, and then he was looking for investors, so I jumped on board, and it's going great. We just won a big, huge award in Vegas for the best brand.
Wow.
So it was a great process.
Let's talk about UglyRoof. Tell me how you came up with the idea, whose idea was it, how UglyRoof was born.
So we were chatting one day about expanding our roofing side of the business. We were doing a lot of James Hardie siding, so we eliminated the James Hardie siding, and how can we do more with just roofing? What can we add on? John owned a power washing company for years, so we started looking into the industry, found a competitor of ours who was started in the business, and then we found a partner that was just unbelievable and just started down the road. We started with ourselves. We tried to do like satellite offices ourselves and open up our own little branches, but then it didn't work.
John, what happened to power washing company?
So we sold it actually. Yeah,
You
yeah.
sold that business?
Yeah, I was doing roofing sales. It was more like a roof wash, exterior wash company. Sold it to another guy. We did well in that company, but just wanted to get over into the roof training and that side of the business. So, yeah.
Who came up with the name UglyRoof?
So I think it was me, and Ty hated it for a long time. That was the fun part about it. And then it was just then we did kind of like some roundtable discussions, and it was rememberable. And that's what everybody says, like, I remember it. So we decided to go with it. I mean, I don't think he hated it, but.
No.
You still don't like it?
No, it's a conversation starter, so it's good. And once you explain it, it gets the conversation starting. Like when you go to these shows, and they're like, UglyRoof, what is that? But then once you get into it and explain it to people, then it's good.
What kind of perception you have from the homeowners? What do homeowners think?
So it's not really sold as UglyRoof to the homeowners. So it's within the roofing business as a repair option typically, and it's just like another product that you would sell. So we leverage it occasionally on like the MHI side, but it's really not known in the home as just like UglyRoof process, right? So, but guys lean into it, because we did a couple of marketing campaigns and everybody's like, who wants an ugly roof? So we're like, we agree, right? That's why that we do what we do. And so we've kind of leaned into it that way.
Yeah.
So the homeowners don't really have a negative perception of it. It's more like we simplified the branding for in the home with just the U and the R, and just just kind of doing it that way. So
That's why we've decided to just only focus on roofing companies, because it's just a product offering within a roofing business. So when our guys go in to sell a job, they might mention the name UglyRoof in there and that's the product, but they're selling MHI and it's a product offering within our roofing business.
I see, but your branding is UglyRoof.
Yeah.
That's what you see on the trucks.
yeah.
Do people Google it a lot?
We do actually get quite a few leads. So it's not on like our MHI trucks and stuff. So the Ugly Roof name is more known in the roofing industries among the roofers, right? So it's a really good catch to get those guys to like, Ugly Roof, what's this? You know, so it's really good to have a good conversation at
But
trade
not to
shows.
get homeowners per se.
Yeah, the homeowners, we don't really push out the name as much. You know, I mean, to be honest with it, it's just more, you know, it's just more about repairs and that type of thing. It's about the contractor. You know, it's about their name and their brand. So we're more like the Owens Corning on the side of the truck, right? We're just you are a brand there, you know, just supporting them, if you will, with that, or the GAF brand type of a thing.
Can you explain technology? Like, what's the product? How is it different from other?
Yeah, so
products
our
similar?
product is very unique in how we first of all get our product, how we crack the main ingredient out of our the oils that we buy, and it's the amount of methyl ester that we put on the roof. The amount of methyl ester, which is actually doing the rejuvenating of the roof, we have 7 times more than anybody else. So the quality of the product is, in our opinion, obviously it's us, is superior because of the amount of rejuvenating that it can do. You know, we have outside testing of multiple different products that are in the industry, and a lot of these products, they burn off so quickly because they don't have enough of the product that does the rejuvenating. They just have oil on the roof. So those products burn off a lot quicker and don't keep the roof soft and malleable like it's supposed to be. Ours, from what we've been told by these outside testing labs, keeps it the longest. It keeps
Is it
it soft.
regulated yet? Asphalt shingles are regulated heavily, but is the rejuvenation regulated yet? You mentioned testing.
I wouldn't say regulated, so it's, you know, like the USDA like will certify it as far as being bio-based products and stuff. So there's some regulation there, but no, I mean there's nothing like there's no.
Who does the
ASTM.
testing, for example?
We've had like Intertech is a big lab,
third
PRI
party?
is a big lab, and then we've also had shingle manufacturers that have gone through all their testing.
Why would shingle manufacturer test product that makes them look bad, essentially?
Yeah. So
That's a good question.
So we'll tell you this: we can't get too involved, but the shingle manufacturers are not. They don't hate the product. There are some that are actually looking at the product for themselves because they see where the industry is growing. They see an opportunity. And I can't really get much deeper than that. But
I mean,
we have.
as you've seen the asphalt industry, like there's good and bad here, right? So we don't have as much asphalt flux, so we don't have as much quality asphalt flux. So it's more of a polymer game now, right? So the manufacturers are trying to find the best polymers, the best stuff with that. So like, you know, now that we have less flux and the flux keeps going up and shingle prices are up, like there's gonna be a bell curved asphalt. And I think if they're looking at it as longevity to not have to go back and replace roofs with whatever synthetic comes later. You know, I think the bell curve's probably 12 to 15 years out, but you know, we're getting close to the peak of asphalt to where it's going to start to come down.
And I think what the shingle manufacturers are seeing is we have been approached by significant sales organizations. And when I mean sales organizations, there's gutter companies out there that are multi hundreds of millions of dollar companies they go in and they sell a product for a high dollar. They're selling gutters for $40, $45 a foot. They're looking at this product to bring it into their fold, which would take a lot of roofing away from the shingle manufacturers and roofers. So they want to kind of stop that bell curve.
How many competitors do you have? How many players are today in roof rejuvenation industry?
There's about 6, about a half a dozen.
Yeah, I mean, there's about a half a dozen. I mean, there's really 3 that are really good competitors, I would say, 2 or 3. There's, you know, that's the problem with the roof rejuvenation industry is, like I said, it's not regulated. So measuring methyl ester in everybody's stuff for what the actual, you know, product is that actually makes this work is very difficult to have that conversation. So it's an education lift.
GoNano one of them?
GoNano it's really a completely different science and different product. That product is more of a coating, where ours is more of a rejuvenator.
I see.
So it seals the roof. So it's a totally different science behind that. Companies like Roof Max, Greener Shingle, those are companies that are similar
almost
in
like
nature
coating.
to us. Yeah.
On the GoNano side, I mean, I don't really know the product that well. I mean, our stuff is a penetration and saturation product. So when you think of it that way, right? So it fully penetrates, it fully saturates, and that's some of the testing that we've seen to where our, like Ty was talking about earlier, was ours stays in the product for 3.5 to 4 years before it starts to boil off. Where a lot of them, if they're using like a soy oil or something like that, it's not a methyl ester or some type of an ester. Like it doesn't fully penetrate and saturate.
Can you explain to biggest skeptics out there what the product really do and what people actually need to be?
I'll give you a little story. So one of our dealers down in Florida, which Florida is for us is like the tell-all because of the heat and because of how beat up those roofs get over time in much quicker fashion than it is up north here. One of our good buddies got into business, and his dad came to the first time we came down there, and we sprayed
Jason Reisman?
It is, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, Eustace. And so his dad gets on the roof, and he's like, "I can't believe my son got involved with this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This is snake oil." And I turned and I said, "Hold on, say that again." And I started recording him, and he didn't say it again, but he's like, "This is terrible."
Still have that video?
Huh? I do. We have parts of that video. Yeah.
Can you send it to me?
Sure.
Yeah,
Please do.
You'll find it.
So then I said, "Come back in 2 weeks and then tell me what you think." Well, he went back the next day, and me and Jason were driving in the car, and his dad goes, "I'm in. This is amazing. The entire roof is sealed down. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life." And now Jason's one of our largest dealers. He's killing it down there in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
What is roof rejuvenation?
Roof rejuvenation to us is taking a product, a solution, and replenishing the bituminous in an asphalt shingle. So the scientific version of rejuvenation is what I'm referencing, right? The ability to have the ability to extend the lifespan of an asphalt shingle past its expected lifespan.
What's the expected lifespan of the asphalt shingles?
It depends, right? I mean, so you have 15-year shingles, you have 25-year shingles, but really a lot of it depends upon geography, depends upon weather and how fast a sun would dry out the asphalt. And so different parts of the country experience different results.
So would you say 15, 20 years is your average lifespan?
As an average lifespan, with today's manufacturing, possibly. And I know that there's shingles that are advertised to last longer, but with some of the evolution of climate change and sunnier days,
You're gonna get a lot of haters for that combination of words.
Well,
Climate change.
not necessarily in a bad way, right?
Yeah.
Just evolution. There's certain parts of the country that are experiencing colder, right? The colder environments. There's parts of the country experience warmer environments.
What's harder on shingles, sun and heat or extreme colds?
Well, we believe that sun and heat will dry out the bituminous much faster than anything. So really, for our intents and purposes, being able to use our product to replenish the fine oils in the asphalt in these sunnier southeastern markets is really effective.
Can you explain to me, like to the third grader, like what's happening with the shingle when, like if I would explain to my kids, like why would we spray stuff on top of our roofs?
So yeah, there's a few reasons, but let's just talk about some of the core reason could be, we're experiencing a lot of construction waste, right? This is a way of rejuvenation, is a way to take what would have ended up in a landfill, a decade ago, and now you're able to maintain that shingle on that roof for longer, right? So that could be one valuable reason.
What's the problem with the shingle being dry?
Well, when a shingle dries out, it becomes brittle. They start to crack. They start to fall apart. So now any type of weather event could take that shingle and completely, can make the roof unusable, right? Now you need a full roof replacement. So if you're able to maintain the pliability and flexibility of that shingle over time, now those weather events may not have the same implications that they would on a brittle or dry shingle. that now might not have the chance to be repaired because it's already past its life cycle.
What's happening do you do anything to the sealants or just to the pliability, more like a face or the back of the shingle as well?
So our product is designed to penetrate the tar seal, right? So we are not a coating or a sealant. We believe that, you know, the actual solution needs to replenish the fine oils and fortify the asphalt within the shingle. So we're not laying any form of silica or coating because scientifically that's not what we do, right? There are products that are coatings or that are sealants, and that's not something that we believe from our perspective scientifically we should be replenishing the fine oils, allowing pliability and flexibility, and ultimately stopping the aging process, but not sealing or coating.
So it's like compared to oil change, I heard. Did you say it's like oil change?
Yeah, I think that that's a really good example.
If that's the case, why manufacturers themselves don't offer this kind of solution?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I think that there is opportunity for a manufacturer to offer a solution like this. I think that not every roof needs replaced, right? But, you know, business is a game of numbers. And if I'm manufacturing product and I'm manufacturing shingles and I'm, you know, in a corporate framework, I'm saying, well, what does losing a few % of our market share to this mean? And it could mean a pretty dramatic number, right? And I think that from a revenue perspective, maybe the manufacturers haven't figured out how to correctly capitalize on something like this. Even if they have good intentions, right? Maybe they want to work in this type of a framework, but ultimately it comes down to, would this hurt their business more than help it? But I would make the argument that I think that if you're able to use a solution like this, you on a property owner's roof, you could gain a customer for life, because you're giving them an opportunity to potentially save money for a future replacement, but also say, hey, listen, there's other options, right? And, you know, this could be a much lower cost option for you because we don't need to rip the roof off.
What else is happening to the shingle on a chemical level after application? Is it becoming more slippery? Is it becoming like more wet? Like what else is happening?
Yes. So our product, we call it cracking. So, you know, it's important that the product is laid in the right temperature, right? So above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So the product is applied. It's applied in a pretty heavy, it's a heavy coat, or it's a heavy spray, right? And it lays on top of the shingle and then it absorbs, right, over time. So that our chemical reaction and absorption is what the roof needs. Now, there is a slippery, right? A slipperiness to the coating right after.
Oily?
Yes, exactly. Right after application. And over time, as that absorption happens over several hours time, that slippery slickness does go away. I think it's also important to recognize that not all grades of methyl ester are the same. So what we're doing, right, is we're applying a very high grade methyl ester. And like I had referenced before, some products are coatings and silicas and plasticizers and what be. You know, we all have a little bit different approach, a different science. And I think really what it comes down to is that, you know, we started in the construction business, and, you know, fundamentally, you know, we believe that after seeing, you know, hundreds of thousands of shingles over the years, we believe scientifically that this is really the right process and product for an asphalt shingle roof.
Do you provide any support, any documentations for Florida? Because I know in Florida they start demanding roof replacements, or they're going to drop you. You know, insurance companies do. Do you help in those cases yet?
So what's nice, you want to speak to that? What's nice with the law is these people get a letter that states that they need to replace their roof or get a certified roofer to state that it can last 5 more years. So when we go in, we can assess those roofs, we do the inspection, do the repairs needed, and then spray it. We can give it that stamp of approval that they need to extend it for that 5 years. And that's why Jason's been so successful. He has a method to how he does that.
Yeah, I mean, the law actually helped because they stated like what can be, separated out. So it has to be a, public engineer, home inspector, roofing contractor that the insurance company approves. So there's still some hurdles there.
Sure.
Right. So on the front end, we're giving the homeowner documentation to take to the underwriters, type of a thing.
So you have 6, 7 competitors. Have you seen Shingle Magic? Pretty much like a painting company. As an expert in the rejuvenation, what's your take on companies that just paint the roofs? And a lot of roofers do it too. They just think that if I paint, if I seal it, I'll fix the problems. Can you explain why that is a bad idea?
So we're in the
Moisture would be the main thing.
Yeah, we're in the roofing business, and a lot of ventilation. Like as a roofer, we're helping homeowners to understand the importance of ventilating their attics properly, adding intake vents where needed, exhaust where needed, and those products really seal up and can potentially suffocate the roof, keeping in moisture. Go ahead, tell them our process, our sales presentation with the moisture.
Yeah, so it's mainly just about just excessive moisture in the attic spaces. So even though that we have a good balance, with ventilation, a lot of times you'll get a plumbing leak in the crawl space, or you'll have, teenage daughters taking 30 showers a day, right? So you wind up having all this excessive moisture that it can't handle. So that stuff starts to wick through the deck, and a lot of times, a lot of the plastic felts are bad up in the Northeast region, especially right now when there's snow on the roof and you got indoor heat loss and all this moisture coming up, we're using gas heat. So what winds up happening in those situations, from what we understand, is that when you seal the roof down, you actually like trap all that moisture in there. So there's no way for it to permeate out. So it can't get out the exhaust, but because it's covered up with snow, let's say, so it starts to permeate through the wood deck, and then it winds up just holding it right there on the deck and creating, some mildew or mold issues.
So our opinion,
Yes,
our opinion,
we don't know,
is that there's certain products that seal and coat the roof, whereas ours and the other oil products allow the roof to be breathable still. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to its main function, right? So the whole goal of rejuvenation is not to change the product, right? The asphalt product, we're just trying to make it better and back to what it used to be. Instead of putting a new sealer over top of it to create a new product. So that's kind of our interpretation of it. Is we're just rejuvenating or revitalizing that asphalt flux.
Let's talk about your business model. What kind of roofers are you looking for to join? It's a dealership model, so they become dealers, they buy a product. What their investment looks like, because video might age. I don't want you to give like exact pricing,
Sure.
Because it might change later. But roughly, how much are we talking about investment, and what are you looking for in a roofer?
Yeah, so we've made it as easy as possible. When we first started, we would have them buy our trailer, get it wrapped, buy the equipment and deliver a package to them. So many roofers, we all have trailers sitting around. So now we make it as easy as possible for them. If you have a trailer, great, we'll send you the equipment. If you have equipment already, we can tell you if the equipment is going to be good or not, or we can just ship you the equipment. We make it as easy as possible to get into business. But it's not cost prohibitive. With a brand new trailer and brand new setup, we can have it shipped to you for about $23,000, everything brand spanking new. And then you buy the product off of us, and that's what we help our dealers with. We help them to sell the product and move product.
How do they sell it? Like you help with the training material, sales, events like we have today here?
Yeah, I think that's what makes us so unique.
Yeah, it's all, so our IP is, I mean, our juice is great, right? That's what we say. Like we got the best juice around, but it's really about helping roofers know how to sell a roof and have a proper inspection to sell the homeowner what they actually need instead of what they want them to have, a lot of times. So, when we walk into the home and we have another option besides just replacement, where most guys are just pushing the replacement down a homeowner's throat, now they can look at it as a whole and say, okay, like what is the best option here to help the homeowner? And so we train that as like, listen, like if you sell our product, great. We know if you follow the process that you're going to sell our product just 30% of the time. So we don't think that 80% of the roofs are rejuvable, right? Just based on poor craftsmanship, because of all the repairs that are needed. Our stats are showing about 25 to 35% max, right? Just depending on which market and stuff, because there's such a lot of bad craftsmanship out there. So ours is more of a repair play. So this is just part of our repair process. So we go in and show the homeowner like that the shingles are brittle and they're not adhered. Well, we can fix that in our repair process, and that's how we go to market with it and help our dealers understand that they have another option. So if you're at a $20,000 roof, you can also sell this $5,000 option with a repair with it.
So we're in the business of selling oil, right? So obviously we'd love to spray every roof that's humanly possible, but we're roofers first. So we understand that when we're inspecting a roof, only a certain amount of roofs qualify. A lot of our competitors say 80% can be sprayed or 70% can be sprayed. It's just not, that's not accurate. We have the homeowner's best interest at heart. You got to do what's best for the homeowner. Do a proper repair and do a rejuvenation if it qualifies. If it doesn't qualify, then you need to lead them down the replacement path. And our sales presentation helps our dealers do that. We're not only helping our dealers sell our product, but we're helping them sell more roofs with the whole sales process that we teach them.
And for clarity too, with it, yes, probably 80% of the shingles could be rejuvenated, but not the roof systems. Right, so that's the way that we look at it. This is a whole system. If it doesn't have ice and water, if you got to reflash a chimney, by the time that you do a proper repair, it's 70% of a new roof. Why would you spend that when you get a new roof for 20 grand instead of 15 to do the repair and rejuvenation? So that's been our vantage point on it. Is sure, you could probably rejuvenate 80% of the shingles out there, but it's more about, can you rejuvenate that roof system? And we don't believe that it's possible on 80% of the roofs, because it just on our own data last 4 years of, what can we actually repair and rejuvenate? We're right around 30% of the roofs that we do.
Am I hearing you correctly that you really prefer roofers who already do repairs? Because a lot of roofers don't do repairs. How do you make a roofer? How do you convince a roofer to get in a repair business? What's your
That's tough.
Sales process, and why, in your opinion, so many roofers don't repair roofs?
Yeah, because we were in the same boat. We didn't like doing repairs because our average repair was $1,000 or $1,500. By the time you pay a commission on it, yeah. So it just wasn't a moneymaker for us. When we added rejuvenation to the process, our average repair went to $5,600, which makes it now worthwhile for the salesman and worthwhile for the company to sell those products.
But how do you convince the roofers to start repairs? And would you work with a roofer who does not?
Yeah, if they're open, right? So they're gonna be open to it. Once you look at it from a marketing aspect, so when you sit down with the guys like, hey, where's your pain point at? Everybody's pain point is leads and marketing right now. Well, it's because you don't do repairs, right? So by the time that they call 10 roofers, and they call the first 9 and then they call MHI, we love to do repairs. So our whole mentality is we love to do repairs. We're always trying to find a way to repair the roof, so the homeowner trusts us and feels better doing business with us. So when we sit down and say, hey, after seeing all this, would you agree your roof's just not repairable? It's usually a one call close at that point, because the homeowner already trusts you. They've called 9 other guys that said no, right? Knowing that 30% of the time we can repair, but 70% of the time it's going to be a roof replacement. So having that with that knowledge, but you got to have a repair team that you can train and trust and go to do that stuff too.
What's nice about it is Cam Kinney was our #1 salesman at our company. He's been for a long time now, and hated the repair leads.
Hated them.
He wanted replacement leads at all costs. Well, once we started this process, he was the most reluctant to get on board. But now he loves those leads. He took a lead a few weeks ago. There was just a gutter cleaning. He's like, I'll sell something here. He sold a $7,500 repair on the roof because it gave him an opportunity to get up there and do the inspection. We cleaned the guy's gutters for him, but we also, did the necessary repairs and rejuvenation.
So it goes back to when you know that you need a new roof, you're going to get the 3 estimates, right? So when you're leaking and you're bleeding right now, and one guy will show up, you buy the roof off of that guy, because you don't continue to search, because you found the solution, you found the guy that can fix it. And I think if you can tell any roofer that's out there, is get into the repair game. One, you're going to need it in the next couple of years, right? Because the market's shifting, I think too, right? To be able to get more leads and just to be more profitable, right? So, but two is being able to send a rep in, and that's the hardest uplift. I mean, to be honest, is training reps to look for repairs. So you got to make sure you got somebody in the back office that can look at pictures in company cam or whatever it is that you use to make sure that, hey, yeah, this is repairable. So that's probably the hardest lift, but when you show them how to do it and you train them, it's usually pretty simple. Like their marketing costs should go down and their close rates go up. So
since adding rejuvenation to our company, our average sales guy, closing percentage was in the mid-30s. We had some guys close to 40. Our average closing percentage, 13 of our reps last year, was 51%. So by having options when they go into the house now, they're selling everything. So it's been good.
I have one last question about UglyRoof, and then we'll talk about our industry. What kind of data do you have on requests for rejuvenation? Is it growing, like online requests? Talk to me about the rejuvenation industry and the demand. Like, what do you see year to year?
yeah, it's a great question. Now the last 2 months, we would get 1 or 2 a month on our website. We're probably getting 3 or 4 a week right now.
Wow.
For homeowners looking for the product. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's really just been the last 2 or 3 months with that. We've just seen this big uptick in insurgence of it.
So for our business, we feel like it's, the snowball's at the top of the hill and it's coming down a lot faster now. Roofing contractors are noticing it, they understand it a lot better, and they're wanting to get involved more now. From our standpoint, like from a roofing contractor, we haven't advertised one time for rejuvenation in our market. It's just, we advertise for repairs. When we get to the house, our sales guys educate them to what the product is, to what rejuvenation is, while we're in the house. So we haven't done a big uplift as far as advertising rejuvenation itself in our market. We just, when we're in the home, we educate the homeowner at that point.
You just came back from IRE. What was the coolest, newest products you have seen personally that impressed you?
That Equipter.
Yeah, that new Equipter was pretty awesome.
Really?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Interesting enough, I guess I'm boring. The new timber steel was pretty cool on the JF side. I thought it was kind of neat because it really it's almost seamless. It's a new metal product that they're bringing out. I thought that was really, really neat.
Very sharp.
They're kind of at least looking from the shingle industry side, it's like they're starting to make changes because I think they're starting to see.
So JF is getting in the metal now?
Yeah.
I know ICO bought the teal core before, so ICO
Right.
is already in the metal. So
Correct.
now JF is getting in the metal?
Yep.
It's a very nice product, yeah.
Why do you think asphalt manufacturers are getting into metals? And do you see it as a trend moving forward?
I think it's a trend, yeah. I mean, I think the bell curve's coming, like we talked about earlier. I mean, I think we're going to hit it in about another 12 years, and I think, everybody's going to have to start to look at synthetics and metals. It's just more the balance of price, right? So we've looked at the shingle industry as a commodity for years, but the price never goes down, and we blame the manufacturers and we blame the suppliers too. And I believe that there's a lot of that too. But I do think it's raw good cost is what's keeping their prices up. So, we've done such a good job in refining oil, right? So if you look back in the early 2000s, like the precipitate or whatever was left as the asphalt flux, they would waste about 20% when they're refining oil. Now it's like 7 or 5, right? So there's less flux left. And I think they're fighting over that flux. That's what we said earlier, like it's in the polymer game now, it's in the synthetic game. I just think the more and more that we get better at refining oil and having more products out of it, the less flux you'll have and the less asphalt that you'll have to put into a shingle. So I think they're going to have to pivot.
Anything else cool from IRE?
Those metal machines are really cool. Those fully automated
brakes,
benders.
You see those
That was
massive
crazy.
brakes that were bending in 15 different angles, and so if you're in the metal game, those products are phenomenal.
Love it. Would you say that roofing is ahead or behind other trades, construction trades, or even like landscaping? Like, are we behind? There's electricians, HVAC contractors.
Yeah. So it depends on what context, right? So I think professionally and like what we've presented into the home, we're 10 years behind HVAC, right? I think HVAC, and that's why you saw some of the private equity took over the HVAC market. You want to see that on the roofing side. I think it's going to become more professional.
But you feel like equity money will change that?
I think you'll have to change. I think you'll have to be more of a commercial well, not commercial roofer, but commercial mindset of being more professional in the home. Like I think it's gonna sexy it up a little bit, right? It's gonna
Less
make it a
mom
little
and
better.
pops, less checking trucks.
Yeah,
Less
more
chucking the
systems
truck.
and processes and presentations as opposed to 3 guys in a truck.
More franchises. What's happening in the franchise world right now with equity firms? Because I feel like we had few franchises, not a lot, but very few. And now we have equity firms almost like building franchise-like models. I mean, they're glorifying local big players, like even like you guys, MHI, and then trying to
I think-
replicate them.
I think the franchise itself model is difficult because you go in and you get the science teacher and say that you can run a company and they've never ran a company. I think the franchise model itself is difficult because of who they recruit typically. I think on the private equity side, I think that the way that's coming to the market right now, right, we needed a change professionally, like we said a minute ago. I think the change that you're going to see is going to be just on that front, really. I mean, just being able to back in a truck and say, hey, let's go to market, find the good guys in the market, and back them financially, and just try to help them out. I mean,
Yeah, the franchise model, you're starting up brand new in a market that nobody knows who you are. And now you go into a market where MHI has been for 40 plus years, and you take that company and explode it and back up the truck, like you said, and go from X to X is a much easier uplift than bringing in a brand new franchise to a market.
What's your personal favorite digital product? Maybe
Don't
use
get
it.
him started.
Maybe use it your own company or.
so favorite compared to the most versatile, everybody needs to have company cam in their business. Like it's pretty simple, it's pretty basic. Just like we were talking about in training in there, is like when you roll up to the house, you pull up company cam, it automatically finds the closest houses you've been there, and you can have a quick conversation with the owner.
Does company cam do anything with the video yet?
Yeah, you can upload videos. Yeah, I think there's a 2-minute max or something on them still, but I mean, but it's just if we were going to start over and have one product that you had to start with, it had to be like an Excel spreadsheet and company cam, right? Because I think you can at least keep all the data in one spot, all the documents and pictures and stuff. But my favorite product overall, man, this is going to be a weird curveball, is seeing what Service Titan's bringing. What you see out there in the space right now is not what the roofing industry really has. But yeah, it's kind of seeing what's happening there as a full ERP. So they've always been more of an FSM product or field service management product, but now they're a full ERP for the roofing space. Like it's
Funny
pretty
you said it because I did not know what ERPs are.
Yeah.
And I just did a podcast, actually airs this Saturday, with a founder of ERP, and he explained it like in detail. So I see more ERPs now, and above CRMs, because we were very basic.
Yeah. And I'm a Job Nimbus fan. I've loved them, and I'm glad that they've acquired SumoQuote. I think it's going to help them tremendously on the sales side and less data entry. But they've got some work to do to get to the reporting stuff and stuff like that. But they're a fantastic product. Like, I mean, we've used them for 7 years. But just seeing what's coming, it was kind of interesting to see that, because it's there. It's pretty neat.
It's funny that you mentioned right away company cam, because if you look at BBB reporting, roofers are #1 on the list of complaints. Like 6,000 inquiries, or because people come to sites like BBB because they don't know how to trust a roofer. And how do you trust a roofer?
Exactly.
Same way you trust a mechanic, making him accountable. Pictures do that. I was actually changing oil last week at Luther Dodge dealer, big dealer, and I dropped it for oil change. It was complimentary, comes with a Dodge, Grand Wagoneer was not. And I'm getting this text message from a mechanic essentially, and he's showing me like short video. There's like 40-second video in a text. So I open it up and I hear a mechanic's voice. So it's not a salesperson. It's not someone who tried to he's like, here's your vehicle, Mr. Dmitry, here's what we're doing here. Your brakes are good, your pads are good, your tires are good, and wheels are off. And he's just giving me like pad inspection all around. I have like 20,000 miles. Like, we did your oil change, we did this, and this. And he's showing, like, seeing is believing.
Yeah.
And
good.
mechanics used to have bad reputation. Roofers still have a bad reputation, but if you show them a picture, if you show them short video, it goes a long way building that trust. And now, do I have any doubts that they actually did the work or not? Because of course they did.
Yeah, that's what we're teaching them in there, the importance of how you say things, when you say things in the videos that we take to help the homeowner understand what they're getting and what they're paying for.
Make a prediction for the next 5-10 years in the roofing industry. What will happen? This is your opportunity to look in the future and then rewatch it 10 years ago and say, I called it.
So insurance model is going to change drastically, I think. There's always going to be insurance, right? I mean, everybody wants to say that there'll always be insurance, but a lot of direct repair networks are coming, I believe, especially with private equity in the space. So they're going to make deals, and they're going to be the Allstate guys going to be with this firm, the State Farm guys are going to be with this firm, and they're going to work out these deals to get this done. So I think that's going to change. I do think that shingles are not going to be a thing of the past, but it's not going to be, the 70-80% market share. It's probably going to be 30 to 40. I see the synthetics and the metals coming up pretty quickly. Those would be my two.
And rejuvenation, baby.
Yeah. Rejuvenation, yep.
It's going to have a bigger impact in the industry on the repair side, extending these roofs for a lot longer, especially in these southern markets where the roof doesn't last as long as it should be lasting.
What's the best roofing material today?
That's a loaded question, right? So,
Jersey Park says it's metal.
So it depends. So like if you look at what happened in Florida during Hurricane Ian and all the devastation that we've seen, I actually believe that shingles are still the best choice. It sounds crazy because tile.
But metal roofs there actually are the ones who still were intact. Like
some of them.
There's a lot of
some
peeled
of them.
off.
So the problem is
roofs in Cape Coral.
A lot of the issues are the debris flying around. So wind, let's take the wind out of the equation, it's the debris. So once you hit that metal panel and you open up one of those seams in that locks, the whole thing blows off.
Yeah.
With shingles, what we saw was we would
unless
see
you do it right.
Well, even if you do it right, like with a snap lock.
Have you seen I think it's New York Times, the house that they feature, like where houses are all removed, like their houses are gone, and there's one house with the metal siding and the metal roof. No, I know it's metal roof. I don't remember what they have for siding, but the only one house standing with the roof and everything else attached. They actually did an interview with the builder who built it, and they went extra mile. I mean, if you do it right, it will usually.
No, I like standing seam. I like metal. I don't like barn metal. I don't think that's a good product. Just seeing the devastation in Cape Coral and Fort Myers, the metal roofs lasted as much as the shingle roofs, as much as the tile roofs did. It's really about the debris that's flying around. So when you think about tile roofs, like that's my least favorite actually is tile, because they just become little missiles that pop off there and just destroy everything. Shingles, at least you have a chance to repair them, right? You can blow off a section, and if it's 3 years old, you can go buy 2 bundles of shingles and repair it. Metal, when you do have something that gives way because of the wind force, like when it hits those locks and those seams, it'll open it up, and then something gets up underneath of it and it blows the whole section off. So you got to replace the whole roof at that point anyway to make sure that the colors are going to match and all that kind of stuff. So I do think metal is superior, but I do think it depends on what hits it. So,
what about Euroshield or rubber products?
I like Euroshield. I think it's a good product. I've seen it last in Cape Coral actually through 2 hurricanes now, I think, through Irma and Annie, and there's a roof that we saw. So I think a tree bounced right off the roof and stuff like that. So I do think it's a great product.
Do you think that's the future?
I do
think
something
like that.
Stuff like that.
Some kind of composite product.
Yeah.
It's going to be the future.
Some Euroshield stuff, some Brava stuff. Somebody's going to take the lead and be the synthetic guy.
Yeah, think about like our decking, for example. It used to be all wood, and now those deck boards, like you can't damage them.
Can't damage.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
they're not watertight for like roofing, but something like that, like composite, synthetic, engineered.
Yeah, that's where the game's
So your
going.
answer is shingles is the best product.
Currently.
I'm a shingle guy. Think about the cost of replacement too. compared to a metal roof having to replace it, or a tile roof. I mean, the exorbitant amount that costs.
What about Pittsburgh? Same thing?
See, we're in a unique market. Yeah, we don't get storms. Once in a blue moon, we'll get a little pocket of hail or something like that. With the mountains, we don't get wind events. So shingles here are king, in our market. Metal is making a little play, but people are doing it wrong. They're doing the exposed fastener, and you'll basically have no warranty with that if you're not up there checking on your fasteners on an annual basis. So we really push shingles here because, we don't need a Euroshield product. We don't need an impact resistant product in our market.
Yeah,
So
I think it's market specific too, right? So I think like if you're in Colorado, you need to go with the Euroshield, you know what I mean, or something like that. Maybe an F-Wave or whatever, like something that is impact resistant. I think the problem in like Pittsburgh with metal is everything's a 12, and 3 stories. So you got all this ice issues now and snow issues that's going to come off, and so I think each little market's going to have its own best product. I was just speaking about Florida specifically, is like just the cost to repair versus to always have to replace that roof. Because now with the new laws where, they can drop you after 15 years, it doesn't matter if it's shingles, metal, whatever. Like I think there's some issues there that have to work out.
You touched on the quality. Would you say, from what you've seen in the labor market, would you say that quality of installs going down or going up year over year? You know how they say they don't build it like they used to?
Yeah.
And we see it a little bit about the new construction. I would agree that new construction quality kind of goes down, like faster, or it just snaps together. What about the roofing industry and re-roofs?
I think for us, as your company grows, you get better quality because people are looking to work for you. Then you can weed out. When you're first starting, you just want to have crews because you don't have enough work to even keep those crews busy. Now that you have the opportunity to keep crews busy every single day, you can weed out and find the best quality contractors as opposed to when you're first starting off and trying to keep a crew moving.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think internal optics, like on our own company, our quality just kept getting better. I do think externally, though, if you look at, to Ty's point, as you get the startup guys, I think their quality a lot of times is less because you can't get the higher quality guys. I do think on new construction, though, that it has gone downhill. I mean, I built houses from 01 to 07, and what you see now getting built compared to what we built even then is totally different. Like it's not the same in the foundations, it's not the same in floor joists and walls. Like it's all just slapped together, as you said. And so we say, I won't say the builder's name, but there's a builder here locally that just keep building them because we'll keep replacing the roofs every 10 years, right? And they just keep track building them, and so yeah, because their quality's still bad. They're still not putting underlayments on or ice and water from the builder grade side, and so 5-year-old roofs are getting ripped off and replaced. So I think new construction side is getting worse, but I think as a company grows, I do think their quality should get better. Ours did.
Yeah.
What do you think about roofing solar combo? Is the MHI doing solar? What's your take on it? Are you sold on it?
Yeah, years ago we started with a product, and we just don't get sunshine in Pittsburgh. I put it on my house, and it just does not produce
Didn't make sense.
even close.
Financial?
Yeah, it didn't make sense financially. So we stopped. We did stop selling it. We have not looked into we've dabbled looking into these new shingle type products.
So would you say technology is not there yet to justify, or is it just a cost to install versus cost what you get? What doesn't work?
So I just think it didn't work in our market. Like literally,
Pittsburgh.
we don't get sun. Like
Yeah.
we have, I think there's 140
But you still
days.
have solar companies here.
We do.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
So if you don't have a sun, why do you have solar companies?
Right. So I think the challenge is solar becomes a math problem. You can't sit down with a homeowner and say, here's your urgency, here's how you get your money back. Like, it's trying to get the homeowner to understand, get the sales reps, get everybody to understand that. The fear for solar currently is just seeing what happened in California, like where net metering is no longer a thing. So,
They just killed the industry there.
they killed it. And Florida's voted it in twice, but they got vetoed. So when you see California and Florida starting to move that direction, I think the solar industry is in trouble. as far as it being a viable solution to the future. Do I think it's a good product? Yes, but I think that at the end of the day, it's like, again, it's market specific, right? So Arizona, they don't have, much coal or gas there, right? So like they should probably go with a bunch of solar. So I think it's.
What about Florida?
Florida, man, so Florida's tough because anytime that you get a storm, you got to detach and reset these panels, and there's no warranty on them at that point. So, like, I think it's it's a sunshine state. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but they're getting ready to vote down. Huh?
Hurricanes create a lot of headaches.
Create a lot of headaches. Yeah, that's the problem is you only get 5 years out of the system, and you got to detach and reset it. And it might blow off. So
the products like the GAF product that's a system, an entire integrated system, and now you can get the credit for the entire system that you're selling. That's beneficial to people because you can show them that makes sense. You can show them the difference. But these ones that are attached later, just aren't as appealing in my opinion.
Yeah, in our opinion on it. Yeah.
What are the things of the past they just need to retire in the roofing industry? We just need to stop doing it, stop selling it, stop seeing this. Like this has got to go in 2024.
Roll roofing.
Rolled roofing?
Rolled roofing, like just
3-foot rolls?
Yeah, like I like SBS and Mod Bit, but like just rolled roofing, like it has no space in the industry anymore.
How do you explain that they still sell 3-tab shingles? Is that gonna go?
I'll tell you what, if they're making 3-tab shingles like they made them 40 years ago, if it's the same, they last forever. When we look at roofs now to either rejuvenate or not rejuvenate, the 3-tab shingle has all of its asphalt. You don't see fiberglass. In the new dimensionals, you're seeing fiberglass pulling through. If they made them,
so
the same
3-tabs were higher quality than architectural
currently right
today?
now.
So
when we look at these roofs, you'll see a 3-tab that's 25, 30 years old and it's rejuvable.
It's rejuvable.
And then you'll look at a dimensional that's 15 years old and you're
Is
like,
it
nope,
because
I
of
can't
the
do
asphalt content?
Asphalt
Yes.
content, yeah. Quality of asphalt at least.
Quality of asphalt.
Yeah, but asphalt content.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But I would never put one on my house.
Yeah,
doesn't,
but just looking at it
aesthetics.
historically, yes, like I agree with that. I think that they just used to make them better, right? That's what you said earlier. They don't make
Would
them
you
like they
agree
used to.
that weight of the shingle matters?
I don't.
You don't?
Yeah, we could argue with this. I don't. I believe it's all about what it's made of, because a lot of the ones that have a lot of weight have a lot of binder and backing dust and some weight to them. Does that add to some of it? Sure, but I think it makes it on the brittle side. So we've seen that out there in the field too. The brands that are heavier, they're more on the brittle side when you go to rejuvenate.
My biggest argument with that is I don't care even as much for the weight. I care for consistency. So when manufacturers do not put weight on,
I agree with you
like
on that.
I remember when I was doing shingle test, and OC were the one, and you weigh 3 bundles worth nothing. It's supposed to be like 220, and a few other products would be like 250. But then we weighed in one time, it was like 200. I'm like, 20 pounds. Where did 20 pounds go between 3 bundles? Like, what gives? That's like, if you tell me it should be 220 and now it's 200, like something just gave. And like, I'll give you example, certain teeth always being like the most consistent. They actually tell you it should be between 239 and 245. Yeah. And it was always like 241, 242. Like I've never seen Owens certain teeth bundle missing like 5 pounds or 6. But think about 20 pounds between 3 bundles. That's like 6 pounds missing from one bundle.
Yeah. So I think it's a different conversation than just the weight itself.
True.
But I do agree that like that part of it matters is consistency and just being that part of it. But I don't know if the weight really matters as long as it's flexible and it adheres down and it can do its job. Because again, we've seen some of the heavier ones that get brittle quicker, because there's too much binder in them. So it can be argued on both sides, I think, too. So.
Question for you: why roofers cannot charge for their inspections? Why is it so hard to value our time? Like why, HVAC guys, electricians, everybody else have service calls, and we have free estimates? Is it because we're more competitive and there are more players? It's a more cutthroat market?
Just in the little Pittsburgh market, there's 2,900 registered roofers. So your competition out there is fierce. I mean, we have significant competition, but then there's, like you said, 3 guys in a truck, that there's a billion of them in town. We're in a blue collar town, so we just have so many roofers. If not everybody is charging, then you can't charge either.
You know what's interesting? Like, I was sitting in a restaurant in downtown yesterday, and I'm looking across the street, and there's this banner for this pizza place. And I'm like, I'm hungry, right? So I'm waiting for my food, and all I can think about the food. And I'm looking at the banner, and I'm thinking about the business owner who puts it up. It was like, pizza $10.99. It's like, it's truly a race to the bottom for me. It's like, who cares? Like, if you're hungry, if I'm walking down the street and I want to eat, do I even look at the price? Do I even look at the offer? Or I just walk in because, you sell pizza. And the banner actually was so faded, like you cannot see colors anymore. So all you can see, the price, and they actually put a sticker on the price. So it looks like it was different price. And now you have a faded banner, and now they added, and I just imagine, like, in our industry, it's very similar. Sometimes we want to be the cheapest. It is cutthroat. Like, I see roofers charging the same price they charged 10 years ago. It's very sad. Do you see that? Do you see that roofers are struggling to increase their prices, despite the fact that we're getting like so many price increases from manufacturers and everybody else?
Yeah. So, in any town, there's your main competition who you feel is that you're up against, and for the most part, the guys in our area are consistent. We're consistently pretty close in price, but then there's that 20% drop off that you don't even know how they're doing it because they're barely covering their costs. That are tough. But those, as long as your main competition in a market is within 10-15%,
What advice
safe.
would you give to someone who is that low, who is the cheapest guy?
Don't be the cheapest guy anymore, because one is you're going to go out of business because you're not going to be able to afford the attorneys that you're going to need for the bad craftsmanship you're probably paying for, and that's an assumptive thing. But like, look at raising the price so you can raise the families around you, right? So most of these guys who are in that cheap price don't pay their people well, and so they're not really people focused. And I know it sounds mean, but I feel like if you charge the right prices, don't be too high, right? But don't be too low. But if you charge the right price, you can afford to pay the right people to help run the organization, and then everybody can make money at it that way.
Like you said earlier with the Better Business Bureau, that's a lot of the reason why these guys go out of business, because they're not charging enough to do quality work. Yeah. So they shortcut, they cut here, they use inferior products and then eventually they don't charge enough, so they go out of business. That's why the Better Business Bureau puts that stat out, and why the roofing industry has such a bad name. I mean, we all, I think the Better Business Bureau does it. We've always used it in our sales process. You'll spend $10 a square foot on your flooring in your house, but you won't spend $7 a square foot for what's protecting everything about your investment up on a roof. So helping people to understand that and charge a fair price, getting guys that are, it's a race to the bottom with that bottom tier of contractors in the market.
Anything else that has to go from a roofing industry in 2024?
That needs to go?
Yeah.
I know it needs to stay. Your roofing process conference. That's been a phenomenal conference for us. That and really that and one other have been phenomenal for us, but that needs to stay, if possible.
Let's get it go.
I'll kind of back you up on something that you've posted. I think a lot of the contention needs to go, and we need more collaboration. You've been saying that. We've been saying that too for years. It's just like, just like with the Ugly Roof dealers, is like most of the guys that are part of our network now are just guys that we knew, that we collaborated with. Like everybody's boat can rise, right? It's not. Don't view competition as competition. Like the only competition we have is in the mirror. And that's the way that we look at it. Like we want to help the guys it's right down the street from us. I got a good friend of mine, it's Corey Combs. It's up in Tampa, and we share ideas all the time. We've collaborated for years on
I just did an episode with him 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, okay. So Corey's fantastic. So but we collaborate a lot, and I think that's what's going to make the industry better, is if we can just collaborate with each other instead of looking at each other as all just competition. And to see guys in the room here, I mean, we've got guys in the same market that are talking to each other, talking about how to go to market and how they can work together to corner the market and rejuvenation together at least, right? So, just being able to see that, I think that's the thing. Contention needs to go away, more collaboration in. So
we've tried hard to do that over the years, and our relationship locally with the other master elite contractors has just been phenomenal. Like Benny Fisher, Big Fish, he's my good buddy. Resnick, all of our main competition, you play nice, and if there's so much roofing to go around, there's no need to be so hostile with your competitors in a market.
True. Price increases in the industry. Did it help you with the ugly roof? And what's your take on the price increases in general?
So it always helps us on the repair and rejuvenation side, right? I mean, because every year if it goes up 5 or 10%, now it used to be 25% of a roof cost, now we're 20%, hopefully it'll be 15%. So the more that the shingle prices rise, the more that it does help us sell that side. And that's where I think the industry is changing to, like we talked about earlier, is you're gonna have to learn to do repairs and do rejuvenations, because once you get into high-end products like metal and synthetics, some people are not going to be able to afford it, and they need a bridge loan, let's say, right? They need a 5 to 10 year bridge loan to get there, and that could be done through the rejuvenation side.
I think what's helped with our product is because of where we get our product and how we make our product. It's not a commodity like others where they're buying brand new soy product. Ours is a recycled product, and it's kept our pricing steady through this whole process, where you see these other products can skyrocket because they're a commodity basis. So it's kept our price steady on the lower side, and now that does separate us when the shingle prices continue to increase and increase.
I love the recycling part. Also in the roofing industry, another big problem is recycling perception versus propaganda. Manufacturers for years have been saying we recycle, we green this, but in reality, we did a big piece on it. There's no recycling. Nobody fixed it. It's all going to landfill. Do you feel like people are waking up to it and public perception is like, hey, we should think greener, and more people think greener?
So I think it's a double-edged sword too, right? So on the rejuvenation side, it's good that our stuff's coming from the used cooking oil and we're recycling. Some feedback that we get from like homeowners is like, it's a recycled shingle, but how much of it's recycled? Can we really trust it? So I think there's also a double-edged sword there when you're really thinking about what's the consumer really thinking. We all want to be green, but do we want to have that compromise to the product might not be what we think it's going to be if it's 50% recycled, right? So like, would you buy the shingle with 50% recycled? So I think that's probably the way that I've been trying to think around it is, is where's it going with that? Yes, I think that we need to be green. But
people want to be green
to the point
where they don't lose quality, though. So you always want to be green. You want to do your best there, and that's why our rejuvenation product is so wonderful. But on the flip side, you don't want to forsake quality for being green. I think that's the conundrum people kind of get in. But there's a lot of people that are like very focused on green, and those people they're easy to sell with our rejuvenation product.
What's your take on aerial measurement companies? Who do you use? Who is the best, and the whole aerial measurement market?
So we like RoofR because it has the ability to in-field change. Like you can edit the product, so it's not just here's the measurement and it is what it is. We can field verify. So when we get to the house, we have the measurement. We can call back to the office and say, hey, I ran a tape on the front of the house. It's not 47, it's 45, or it's 49, and change instantly and get more of an accurate reading. Yeah,
it actually helped us on the production end. Like we dialed in another 3 to 4% on just production for what we were paying the crew in waste by just being able to edit a report. And so we have a whole process now. We actually have an inside support team that when the reps are out there in the field, they take their drone picture and they give the measurement and the pitch, and then our team actually edits everything and then gives them the new measurements. And now we're like almost like pinpoint on every job. So
what do you think about all the drone technology? identifying hail damage and stuff?
So we have a drone in Florida, one of the Eagle View's Skydio drones, and we've been part of our inspection process the last 3 months. It's really interesting. It's the first time I used it was like it took off and automated, and I mean it's fully autonomous. It was scary. It went next to the tree up and down. It's really good. It detects anomalies, which I like. I think the technology is getting there. I like what we can see. I don't think it's there yet to say this is hail damage, this is bird poop, this is whatever, right? But it can at least detect that anomaly. And the thing I liked about the Eagle View side was that then we can go in there and determine if it was hail damage or not, or if it was debris or whatever it is. So yeah, it's a really neat product. Like I see it coming. I think the technology is there or almost there. To be fully AI, it's going to take a lot of data to put into it. But I think it's going to be there really soon. Like I think it's escalating quickly.
There's drones for our business too. Yeah. There's these massive drones. They're cost prohibitive right now, but you can literally hook a hose up to them, and spray a roof.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen those.
Yeah, they're amazing. But they're cost prohibitive for our dealers right now. But that technology is amazing.
How much does that drone cost?
They're probably $100K by the time you get everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah. By the time you get all the right hookups and everything, because you got to think like the oil weighs more than water, so the viscosity and getting it up so high, and the drone has to carry all that weight.
Plus liability if something like
liability
that.
Of that.
On the vehicle.
It's a big.
It's big.
It's a big rig.
Yeah, they're big.
Are you attending Wind the Storm this year?
We've never. Well, I attended one time in my life. I won't. I don't know. So. No, we won't be there this year, but I did see the interview with Josie. It's interesting to see what it's going to change into, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm on a board of we approve speakers and stuff, and I see a big difference.
Good.
I actually got a booth myself, and for me personally, it was that collaboration over confrontation.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I feel like a lot of people want to sit and wait if it's going to change or not.
Right.
But my prediction is people are going to attend. Just like with IRE this year, so many people did not come to IRE and they regretted it because it was amazing IRE.
Right.
I feel like something's changing in the industry. I cannot explain. Like IRE have that vibe this year, where you go there, like everybody positive. Like every vendor was not per se like super happy, but just vibe was different. Like the last couple of IREs, vendors were mad. Right. They're like, I don't like the show. I don't like the attendance. This year, everybody I talked to, they're like,
it was a good
it was
show.
Good. People are good. Roofers are good. I feel like as far as business goes, and I want to talk about it because it's very weird what's happening with the economy. So everybody's talking about how we have the economy for like 10 plus years going up, right? So people are used to spend money. If you're in any business, I don't care if you're a consultant or if you're a roofer or if you're a vendor, you're getting sales. It's not like people are not skeptical. People have money. People not tied to their cash. But with all of that, prices have been going up. Roofing costs more than ever. So in that perspective, something's changing. Like buying power is there. People are generous, but they cannot afford what they used to afford.
Correct.
Do you see it on your ends as well? Do you see more financing deals? And what's your prediction as far as that goes?
So we saw a huge change in just August and September of last year with that, like of people not wanting to spend money, like they want to hang on to their cash. Kind of a dip in some sales, but we've been pretty good at financing on our team. Like it's probably 40% of all of our deals are financed.
Who do you use for financing?
So we've used, currently it's Upgrade, but Service Financing, Green Sky too. I'm in Moment. So we've used all four in the past few years, trying to find the right one to make sure that you get approvals, right? So that's been the hard part, is the approval rates. So you're trying to find out where they're all underwriting at and then find this deal for this person. So that's its own challenge. But yeah, I do think that financing in the space is huge, but also think that the repair and rejuvenation side will be huge too, because now it's affordable. They can at least use their credit card. It's going to be a $3,000 to $7,000 transaction, not a $20,000 to $30,000 transaction. So and it'll help people get to the next 5 to 10 years where they don't have to spend their money now. We're seeing a big increase in that currently, I think, too. So,
anything to add? How do you think equity firms coming to the roofing industry will change, all the, how do I put it, like all the dynamics in the roofing industry? Because now you have bigger players, now you have to please those investors. So companies have to keep selling,
Yep.
have to keep
So
producing.
there's just even right out of the gate, there's just a significant difference in rebates, in the buying power that these large companies have that make it better for us. There's shared services that reduce your costs, that make your company more profitable. There's so many things that if I'm the cheaper in price now for what I'm purchasing the product for, and I'm going into a house now and selling for almost the same price as three guys in a truck, they'll never win a deal. With the sales processes and the backing and the advertising that we can do, it's going to change. It's going to change the market. The guys, I believe it's the guys in the middle that are going to hurt the most, that have overhead, that have some overhead, and need to keep a higher price. I think actually the three guys in the truck are still going to be able to sell deals because they're just so cheap and so low. But it's really going to hurt the guys in the middle that have overhead, have to pay the bills, have to have, and now they're the same price as us. It's going to be much more difficult for them.
I also feel like it's one of the hardest sizes because your marketing to income to sales ratio is pretty high.
Yeah.
Like the more you do it, the cheaper you become. But like your overhead, your subscriptions, your CRM, your basic overhead,
Fixed costs.
yeah, fixed cost is pretty high. Like if you're running $4 or $5 million, it's hard. But then if you do 20, 25 plus, now it's kind of going down. So you might pay 3% on marketing, but here you have to pay like 7%.
Imagine what a $500 million company is the cost is so much more less, so much less.
So the middle guy is going to be slaughtered.
the middle guys,
Middle guys, it's going to be more difficult.
Or are they going to
for that middle guy.
sell to the bigger guys?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully on their part that they will.
Well, they're going to have to get to a certain point. Most of these private equity companies aren't looking for a $5 million company or an $8 million company. There's normally an entry level where they're looking to take a company and grow it in the longevity, how long they've been in business, what size their company, what their EBIT is. That's all important. So that guy in the middle really needs to focus on either, changing things, keeping their costs low, or building their company to a point where they could potentially get involved with one of the larger companies.
Love it.